screens. Good morning, everyone. Today we have a very, very special webinar where we talk about the launch of the 2025 Female Leaders of Tomorrow program, the FLOP program. This is something that is very special to everyone at the IMAA. And it is something that when we often get asked, why do we do the IMAA? It probably comes down to one of these tentpole moments where you actually get to make physical and tangible changes in people's lives and make our industry better than what it is, tangibly make our industry better than what it is. And when I look back on my career and look back on things that I'm most proud of and being involved with is definitely this project. But without me banging on too much about it, I'm just going to share with a bit of a reel of how last year's went and to give you a feel of the program. So I'll just change.
I can't talk highly enough of the program. It's been amazing. I never would have had the opportunity to meet Mark without it. So I'm very grateful. A big thank you to the IMAA. It's an amazing initiative that you guys have started, and I can't wait to see the next cohort that go through. The guidance I've had in interpreting issues to create a meaningful action and actually being able to affect change has been invaluable and something I will take with me into all aspects of my working life, but also on a personal level too. With Gadi's guidance and the lessons learned, I feel empowered to continue growing as a leader and making a meaningful impact wherever I go. It's been amazing, but definitely I'll continue on that relationship with Lauren because she's been so useful in offering a fresh perspective and definitely helping me reprioritize certain components within my career and also navigate when your personal life can intersect with your professional journey as well. Finding the right balance between what do I want to get out of this, what's important for the business, how do I come into that conversation, but also how do I not hold back and am able to speak up. I entered into it hoping to learn how to take a more proactive style in my career and my goals. And I think what I ended up with was something really different, which was a fantastic outcome because I think I got so much more than I expected. Female Leaders of Tomorrow program has been a real game changer for me, not just as a leader, but as a media professional within this industry. It's given me many valuable nuggets of wisdom that I know I will carry with me throughout the remainder of my career. Learning who I am has been a really nice additional validation in breaking a lot of the imposter syndrome that I think a lot of us have in this industry. He really encouraged me to embrace my natural leadership style, to get the best out of my team, and also to show up my agency as a whole and lead by example. To list a few: persistence, hard conversations, how to approach them, talking about them after, and what I've learned to do next time, asking tough questions and hearing tough answers, talking through mistakes, what we can learn from them and how to move through them, how to continue to challenge myself, and I genuinely feel more confident as a leader. The guidance and mentorship of Pete, my mentor, I feel like I've become so much more confident in the role. Overall, it's just allowed me to be a much more intuitive and decisive leader in my own workplace. I think my biggest learning through this exercise has been that there are multiple ways to be a leader, although you may not necessarily have the loudest voice in the room. It is still possible to make an impact and have your voice heard. And I'd say to anyone thinking about doing it, definitely sign up. You get to meet some of the most amazing, inspiring people in that industry. You get to challenge yourself and learn so much. And just thank you. I am so honored.
That was last year's program, which was our trial program, which was absolutely fantastic. So within this presentation, we're just going to run through the purpose, an overview of it. We're going to talk to Sally Lawrence, who you saw within there, about her experience through then. And then I'll be handing over to the program facilitator, the great Wendy Gower, who will be taking over and running you through some of the where we're up with it, how we go through it, how the metrics works, and the application process. We should be all done and dusted by about past. So why do we do this? Well, we've got a bit of a problem within our industry and within society wide holistically. So, when we look at CEOs, there's only 22% of female CEOs within Australia, and then 42% of managers are female. So there is that gap within that needs to be closed. 44%, only 44 prioritize their building their network that assists with progressing their career, which is so important. And that's what this carves out space to do. Not only we also go through the one-on-one mentoring, we also encourage you all to work as peers. And so you build out that network, which is so important for building out your career and also relying on each other as well. And then women earn an average of $26,000 less than men each year. And that has a dramatic flow on effect with superannuation and financial security as well. So these are the major kind of problems and the reasons of why we are doing this. And this was last year's program. So the initial program we had, I think it was 16 over Sydney and Melbourne. And this was a look at the Sydney launch where we had Kath O'Connor heading it up, and then some of the faces we had within that presentation ran through there. Wendy Gower crafted, as well as Angela Smith, crafted this program, and it's really structured around catching up, which I'll allow her to talk about shortly. But it's guiding people through very disciplined catch-ups and making sure they set goals and outcomes to achieve from it. So this year, what's happening? So the mentoring experience is going to happen over 6 months. And a minimum of 17 hours within that. So what we do in Sydney and Melbourne, we will have almost a speed dating session where everyone gets to know everyone. And in the other states, such as WA and Queensland, depending on the interest and the appetite from the market, we might just be pairing, we might be doing some sort of speed dating there. So we'll just wait to hear back from you guys about the market, the appetite in the market for that. It's going to run. So whilst the kicks off formally in October, November, it's going to run over 2025, kicking off in February and run over there. So there's consistencies of catching up. The program is going to run nationally, as I mentioned, and it's an appetite for South Australia as well. We can do that as well, but there's not too many agencies down there at this point. And there'll be face-to-face catch-ups, and we'll be encouraging catch-ups as well between the peers to peers. So you have that networking opportunity there with your peers. The total facilitation of this program, again, like all things the IMAA does, is just to wash its face and make sure that it pays for itself. So it's $1,100 for a program that will, run over probably about 8 months in total with that, but will be a career-defining experience for all participating. Now, I have the lovely opportunity to asking Sally Lawrence, who went through the program last year, a couple of questions. Sally, are you there?
I am, yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so Sally, you went through the program last year or this year? This year/last year. What was your experience like?
Yeah, look, I think to your point earlier, I would say career changing is pretty accurate. I guess I've always sort of had informal mentors in my career, but never in like a formal program like this. And I was partnered with a male, so it didn't really worry me who I was with, but I think, I went into it with very much an open mind. And our first session, we sort of agreed to be vulnerable. And I think that was really important to establish the trust in our relationship. And I've, I guess, walked away with not only sort of a mentor for hopefully the rest of my career, and he sort of made that clear that he's happy to keep in touch, but then also I think a friend as well. And I was lucky enough to be partnered with someone who was amazing, and everyone I spoke to that knew him had only positive things to say about him and working with him, and sort of my ability to walk away with his learnings and what he can sort of teach me and nurture me was really amazing. So yeah, I think don't be afraid or scared or worried going into it. I think definitely have an open mind. And I mean, I love to chat, so it was easy for me. I think our first session went for like 2.5 hours accidentally. But yeah, it was truly was amazing.
Yeah, and it's worthwhile noting as well, probably 80% of the mentors are women. We do have some men in the program because it's important to have that as well. But you get paired up with people that you can have a connection with. And what is your resounded learning from the experience? What is the one big takeaway that you got from it?
I actually had two. So my first one was, and I like to be honest, this comes into my head every day, was focusing on what you can control. Like I think when in my initial session, I mean, naturally, you kind of have a bit of a vent, talk about things that are annoying you, maybe at work or in personal life. And I think his biggest thing to me was like focus on what you can control, and that's where you can have influence. And that's something that I take through every day now in what I'm doing, both personally and from a work experience perspective. And then the other part was understanding the business that you're in. And I think as you get more senior, obviously you're having more of those higher level conversations. And I think particularly for us working in independent agencies, is trying to understand the business perspective of things and operating in a way that, is, I guess, reflective of the business that you're actually operating in. So they're the two things that I've sort of kept. I mean, there's lots, but they're sort of the two that come to mind from what I learned from Mark.
And what do you do differently now in your job that you've kind of taken away from the experience?
A lot, I would say. I think I would like walk away from the sessions with like literally pages and pages of notes. I think for me, like the whole vulnerability piece was really important. And I've always sort of said that I was vulnerable. I've read like Brene Brown and all of that, but I think actually practicing it was probably something I wasn't doing as well. And I think seeing how he was vulnerable in his sessions with myself, but then also talking to his experiences through his career and how he sort of showed vulnerability, I guess it probably, yeah, shed some light on where I was missing in that space. So I think being vulnerable and then being able to, I guess, focus, like the biggest thing now for me is focusing on what I can control. And I actually have seen some really good success in my career or in the last sort of 6 months since focusing on that. So really, I guess, a tangible outcome there, which has been amazing.
Yes, awesome. And what surprised us as well when we're facilitating is that all the mentorees caught up together. Do you recommend the catch-ups and the network that you built?
Yeah, there's still, like, you see them at events, and I think there was like we tried to do like a monthly breakfast, which was really good to just chat, I think, like share learnings, but I think just it's a good way to network, build friends within the industry. I did like a Media Week article the other day, and my biggest advice was the industry is small, make friends quickly. And I think that's something I've taken through my career, and that's obviously a good way for us to do that. And yeah, definitely would recommend it.
Amazing. Sally, thank you so much for answering those questions and being part of it and being part of today. Thank you so much.
No, thanks to you guys.
Next, I'm going to introduce the amazing Wendy Gower. Wendy has a reputation, media pedigree, which is very, very, that everyone would be envious for. Wendy, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Got you.
Excellent. And in the spirit and vein of vulnerability, this morning has not tracked as I expected at all. My computer's not working, various other things have happened, so excuse the dress, and I'm on my phone. But good morning, everybody. And Sally, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for taking us through that. So if you want to flick the slide, wonderful. So I think, we're talking about mentoring. We've heard from Sam as in terms of a generic program overview, and we've heard about the huge impact that the program had on Sally. If you look up mentoring, I'm sure lots of you on the call today are actually mentors yourself, but there's a huge amount of reasons why mentoring is really important and both impactful. So just a few things here, like participating in mentoring provides valuable opportunities for personal and professional growth by gaining insights and guidance from experienced mentors. And that really came through loud and clear from what we just heard from Sally. It fosters meaningful connections, enhances your network, and can open doors to new opportunities. Again, all of those things are exemplified by Sally: the networking, the meaningful connections, and the long-term nature of the mentor-mentee relationship that she built with her mentor. And, you know, she talks a lot about kind of how it's changed her personally. It's like having your own personal confidence coach, helping you build the self-assurance you need to achieve your goals. There are a myriad of other reasons, but they're just three which I thought were really pertinent in terms of the why of mentoring. If we think about the actual broader cohort, I think it was great that Sally talked about vulnerability in the circle of control, but these are three of the things that came through loud and clear from the first cohort. The first one was around overcoming imposter syndrome. It came through from so many of the mentees in this program. And here's just one quote that came through from the survey. "I now have a lot more confidence versus imposter syndrome. It was really nice to feel validated that I'm on the right track." Brilliant. The other one was around tackling difficult conversations. Now, I do a lot of work in this space anyway, and I think people struggle with difficult conversations regardless of the level that you're at, but particularly when you're coming up through the ranks. How do you tackle a difficult conversation? It can fill you with absolute dread. And this was something that was surfaced again by a lot of the cohort. Again, here's a nice little quote. "The area that has changed most for me during the program is in management of difficult conversations. Previously, I would hide from them or sugarcoat them in a way that wasn't helpful for either party. I've spoken about this at length with my mentor, and the strategies she had guided me through have helped me to have tough conversations more honestly and constructively," which is brilliant. Clear and kind. That is the mantra around difficult conversations. And the third one, again, reiterating what Sally said, vulnerability. Absolutely. I've also learned that being a leader is sometimes about being vulnerable. How can I expect my team to open up if I'm not open with them? Brilliant. So I thought that was a really nice kind of segue through to actually some of the program mechanics. The exciting thing is, as Sam has mentioned, the program launches from today. So applications are open from today and they close at 5 o'clock on Monday, the 30th of September. The mentees will be confirmed on Monday, the 22nd of October, and both the successful and the unsuccessful mentees will be informed on the same day. We then move quite quickly into the program launch. Sydney is scheduled for the 30th of October, Melbourne the 14th of November, and Brisbane and Perth. We're still a TBC on them because we're waiting to see what the demand's going to be like as to whether or not we have an in-person speed dating event or it is just a virtual event. In terms of what will be covered in the launch event, will obviously be an outline of the program and its ambitions. The speed networking event with about 10-minute rotations was an absolute standout and came through loudly from the mentors and the mentees that this was a really fabulous way to kick off the program rather than just being randomly allocated a mentor. There was an initial chemistry session, and they would each mentee got to pick the top 3 mentors that they would like to be connected with, and in fact we were able to deliver on that across the board, so that was fabulous. And then we'll also have a keynote from a mentor about why they're involved in the program and key career insights. Again, we ran that in the first launch event, and again that landed really well. And equally, there'll also be some PR which will promote the program and celebrate selected mentees. So that's kind of the broad mechanics at launch. Just to go into the application process just a little bit here. Step 1, the mentees will be asked, of course, to seek approval from their MD, GM or CEO. There'll also be 2 parts to the application process. There'll be a written part and a video application. So let's go into the next page, Sam, which gives a bit more detail about the about both. The video is going to be 60% of the weighting, and it's just a 90-second video about why they would like to take part in the program and what they would like to get out of it. The video is really their elevator pitch to sell their application to the judges and is the most heavily weighted part of the application. The written component was about 40%. It will consist of 4 short responses, and here are the questions. Really simple. What is the single most important goal you aim to achieve professionally in the next 6 to 12 months? How do you believe a mentor can support you in achieving this goal? Why should we select you for this program? Mindful, of course, that we're expecting an oversupply of applications. And how will you show up and what commitment will you make to the process? And this is really just ensuring that the mentees are mindful of the fact that there is an expectation and a requirement of them if they're going to be successful through this program. There will be 3 judges. Lauren Joyce was one of the 23 FLOP mentors, as was Mark Fairhurst, and as was myself. So there will be 3 independent judges trying to just sort through the applications to ensure we've got a really strong cohort of mentees that are really clear on what they want to get out of the program and what a mentor can provide for them in terms of their professional growth. Okay, so we've talked about the program launch, we've talked about the application process, and then during the actual mentoring program, the first 60-minute mentoring session needs to be conducted face-to-face in February. And as Sally said, some of them are going to be longer than an hour. We've asked for 1 session per month, and that's a mandatory from the mentor and the mentee. But we might also look at some short catch-up sessions in between in the coaching work that I do. You know, I say to all of the people that I'm coaching, if there's something that's happening that you need to reach out about, please do so. And that's a similar dynamic here, which I think is really important if indeed the mentors can find availability of time for that. So the mentoring sessions will be in February, March, April, May, June, July. So there'll be 6 sessions in total. We'll then run with a wrap-up event across all markets. And what landed really beautifully at the closeout events last year, of course, we did the brilliant videos, which you saw at the beginning from the mentees, but we also did a panel event, which was the mentors. And just, it was wonderful to hear the mentors talking about what they got out of the program. So it really is a really symbiotic, mutually beneficial program where the mentees are just like, wonderfully effusive about what they've got out of it, as were the mentees. And again, as usual, we will run with a PR during the launch and during and post the program. And then in terms of that post-program activity, we will do another survey. We'll ask for an NPS within that. There will be some interviews with mentors and mentees to support and deepen the feedback. And just to give you an indication of the feedback that came through in the first program, 100% of participants reported an uplift in their leadership abilities. 100% described the program as life-changing. Just think about that for a second. Every single one of the mentees said it was a life-changing program for them. 100% showed improvement in actively applying new leadership capabilities after the program, and 86% felt more confident in using their leadership skills in challenging situations, truly stepping outside their comfort zones. So that's it, that's the program. And in terms of the next steps, the program overview and frequently asked questions will be circulated to each agency leader. The application is loaded onto the IMAA website, Female Leaders of Tomorrow. The application's open today, and as I said, close on Monday, the 30th September at 5 o'clock. And the successful and unsuccessful mentees will be informed on the 22nd of October. So hopefully we've given you a really good overview of what to expect, but of course we are expecting perhaps a few questions, so please bring out.
And so often there aren't questions in these things, Wendy. So if anyone has any questions, please just reach out to us. We're super excited about this. This year we have, I think, about 70% more spaces than previous years. We're investing heavily into it as a sector. We want this to be bigger and better than last year. So we're super excited to get all of your nominations. So thank you so much, Wendy, for your time today. Also to Sally for talking to us and the IMAA team for bringing this to life. Whilst I do have everyone's attention as well, I've just been messaged that that B&T are looking for entrance into the best of the best series projects managers. So if anyone wants to submit themselves or submit a colleague, please reach out to Beck at the IMAA today. It closes today, as we need to have more indie representation within these best of the bests. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. Any questions, please reach out. We are so excited about this program. It is, and I think probably the one thing, that second last slide about the feedback we got from everyone that went through it, about the changes in their careers and the career defining and also, life-changing experience. It is such a special program, something super excited. We can't wait to see how it plays out over the next 12 months with us. Any questions, just reach out. Wendy, again, thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll record this and get it out to everyone who missed it today. Thank you so much.